RaceRoom has been out for quite some time now. Most games that old are almost always out of date by now. However, thanks to SimRacer's unique lack of concern for graphics and an engine that was extremely advanced for its time, RaceRoom has stayed alive and kicking for many years. Despite that, the player base has had rather disappointing numbers, and there are still areas where the game is showing its age in ways that does in fact affect the enjoyability of the game. Yet, I do think these issues are not only solvable, but easily so. Here's how. Number 1. Fix the online. There are two major issues with the online experience. The first, which is easy to solve, is that the ranking system and joining online racing is not nearly as clear as iRacing. It can take some time to fully understand the system, and even when you do, it is quite clunky. I would much rather be able to see a chart or calendar system for the races like we see in iRacing, instead of random collection of servers that you can't see when they are in a race session. This means you might only see 2 or 3 ranked servers on the list, when in reality there are 5 more that are just in races at the moment, which makes it difficult to foresee when the races are. The second is simply the population. Just improving the game overall will of course bring in more players. However, I believe the game has fewer players than it currently deserves. It will take a huge, well-advertised update or event to draw in some more players that simply haven't found the game yet. Something like a huge race with a big prize with a system that somehow allows casual sim racers to earn a part of it would certainly draw a lot of attention to the sim if it is well marketed. Number 2. Endurance racing. RaceRoom is really missing out on an opportunity to capitalize on a sim that seems almost bred for endurance racing, especially since endurance racing has seen a spike in popularity recently. With well-designed pit stop mechanics, great netcode, and AI that deals with multi-class racing pretty well, there are only missing 3 things that could turn this game into an endurance racing powerhouse. AI driver swaps should not really be that hard of a thing to implement into the game. This is essential for offline endurance races. A rain system is something a bit more complicated, but in the current state of sim racing, we do not really need a complicated one. Just a basic system with some basic weather visual effects that also decreases the track's grip level would probably do it for most people. The final improvement is a day-night cycle. The developers have already slightly hinted on it at a few occasions, mostly in forums, however this was many years ago. If the team ever decides to start working on it, the sim would be a huge step forward to becoming the greatest endurance sim on the market. Number 3. The user interface. The user interface is the first thing people see when starting a game. Since the game is a free-to-try business model, I'm willing to bet that tons of people loaded into the game, and due to the outdated UI, they immediately had a bad first impression that stuck with them while trying the game for the first time, and were therefore not willing to buy any extra content or even come back to the simulator. The UI is not very clunky at all, but the aesthetics of it are, in my opinion, outdated and rather dull looking. The developers would only need to touch up on the design of the buttons and maybe play with the backgrounds, colors, and fonts, and they should be able to get a much better looking UI. Overall, although I am satisfied with the current state of RaceRoom, the game has so much more potential. I may not be a video game developer, but just seeing the way other sims develop, I would be willing to bet most of those changes could be made in less than a year if the team really decided to lock down on it. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and/or subscribe. If you would like to further support the channel, check out the links in the description. I'll see you guys on the track. Peace.